as creatives, we find inspiration. One of my best friends from growing up, she's a painter and she's a fantastic painter and she lives in Nashville. Her name's Hannah. Her artist name is Hannah Lane, and she's creates all these beautiful, bright, loving, and her whole mantra is brighten the world around you. And she's always my like go-to check-in for artistic things because um, she's been able to create a business from her art, which is as artists very hard to
Yes.
do.
Yes, this is the artist who actually sells her art.
Right. She's made an incredible living doing it. So she's always an inspiration. I think it's always good to find people that inspire you.
Happy, happy, happy.
Welcome back, Mamas fans. In part 2 of our conversation with the incredible Mary Bogh, we dive in even deeper about her journey as an actor, voiceover artist, substitute teacher, and mom. Mary shares how visualization and persistence helped her to an unforgettable series of opportunities that felt nothing short of miraculous. We explore what it really means to lead with love, prayer, and find purpose in everyday interactions, and embrace the winding path of a creative life. From the joys and challenges to balancing artistic dreams, Mary reminds us that creativity isn't just something we do, it's how we choose to live. Whether you're chasing a dream, navigating a difficult time, or simply looking for a reminder that hope can show up in unexpected ways, this episode is filled with heartfelt wisdom, laughter, and encouragement. Let's dive in with Mary Bogh.
When I was a tour guide, we would have these perks being a tour guide. And one of them was this actor showcase. And you could audition to do an actor showcase, and they would have casting directors and people come and watch your show. Wow. And yeah, they had this great director for 2 years that I did it, Anthony Mindel, and he is a fantastic acting coach in LA. And he directed these showcases, and he wrote a book. The first year I did it, it was called At Left Brain Turn Right.
Left Brain Turn Right.
Yes. And it's all about, and he's a fantastic personality. He's like full of energy. He was a, dancer, actor, director, and he's just like he walks in a room and you're like, and so he wrote this book, and it's a lot of like the ideas of manifestation and just kind of like visualizing things. And it was the first time that I really read a book, because some of them are kind of heady. You read those kind of books and you're like, okay,
yeah,
a little too much. But
it's hard for me to sit down and read a book.
Yes. And so his book was fantastic because his was like visualize yourself doing it. You get out of bed, you walk to your mailbox, you get your mailbox, you open the thing inside that. And it was like, just keep doing that. When I had my first son, my husband and I, we were like living on love. Lots of love. We had a great life, very creative, very fun, really cool experiences, but living on not so much financially. Yeah. And then we got pregnant for my second son, and it was kind of the moment of, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to financially make this little chapter work? And so I read the book. I said, well, I got nothing else to lose. So I was like, okay, here we go. I'm going to book 3 commercials before this baby is born. And I was pregnant, so they always need pregnant actresses on things. And sure, great. And I visualized myself like going to the set, sitting in the makeup chair, getting my makeup done, like visualizing like the steps of the day, and not just like being a commercial, but like visualizing myself. And anyways, so come towards the end of my pregnancy,
a busy life and a pregnant belly.
And so sure enough, I booked a commercial. Oh, it was a Tempur-Pedic Flex commercial, dancing on a bed, big old pregnant belly. I booked it was a Huggies for Russia with my son and my husband. And then
so all 4 of you were in this commercial.
We were, but technically I wasn't cast. It was just my husband and my oldest. And then I was there on set, and they were like, are you the mom? And I said, yes. Like, and so they hired me, and I signed the paperwork like that day and like fixed, and so great magic. And then I had years ago, when as a tour guide, sometimes we get to work on special projects, and we had done this behind the scenes for Transformers ride. And so it's just like a little blurb. It would play as a B-roll on the news if they were talking about the new ride at Universal. And so I get a call from this agency in Chicago that said, we have footage from you from this thing. We could pay you, a little sum, and we could use the footage. Great. Magical. 3 commercials, game changing. So I have my second child, my mom's in town, my husband and I are like, let's just go to the grocery, just the two of us have a little break. But when I tell you, like, things financially were very tight, and then, you're already emotional, you have a brand new baby, you're just like, how are we gonna continue? And so I said, well, let me just stop by the mailbox, and we'll stop and like pulled out some envelopes for like going to the because we live near a grocery, so we walking distance. So we walked to the grocery, and I had all these letters from a casting payroll, and I open it, and the first one's for like $1,200, and I was like,
You have a whole stack.
and there's
payroll.
more, and I'm like weeping in the aisles.
I'm crying right now.
We had a very loving, like, life was very good. It just was such a like
Living on-
weight. It was living on that love.
Living on the love, and not a lot of paychecks rolling in at that time.
At that time, because we were both pursuing our dreams in different realms. And so in those realms, we weren't getting paid a lot for what we did, but we loved our jobs. But just, when you become a parent, your focus shifts. And so anyway, that ended up that B-roll footage ended up being in a SAG commercial. And since I was in the union, I was getting residuals. And so it was like this miracle. So we always called it the miracle money, because like checks would just come in. And then, like, when I tell you, it was like an absolute miracle. So anyway, we talked about manifestation, and not that obviously, like, through the years, there's highs and lows, and you just, also lots of prayer.
Yes.
There's some prayer
manifesting.
and manifesting. And, so that was the biggest one. That was like saved us from having to leave our lives. And it was a miracle. Yeah.
So inspiring.
Ugh.
I think about that story. I didn't know the story before, but
I know.
it's always a joy to listen to it.
We're friends outside of it.
I think about that story a lot, actually. I'm really glad you shared it, because I think it gives a lot of hope.
Yeah.
And I rehearsed that going out to the mailbox. I had started to visualize going to the ATM and seeing the number, the increasing amount in the bank. And I think about that too, about how you said a lot of praying, a lot of manifesting. Is it because of you saying about, prayer sometimes, and prayer is manifesting in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, you're praying, and you pray for many things, right? Peace, love, hope, what you want, things you need, medical prayer, it's just, and I
visualizing. Are you visualizing when you're doing that?
Yeah.
Are you?
When you pray?
No, for you.
I don't know. A lot of, I think when I pray, it's praying for like what you want, kind of like the idea of manifesting, like things you want and hope for, but also like the grace to like accept, if this isn't the path for me, then please guide me to, help me. Like in my life, it found if I'm having a rough go, or if I'm in a situation of like coworkers it's like rough at work, or if it's rough at whatever it may be, I take a second of reflection, and I just think, well, maybe I'm here for them, right? Maybe it's not about me being here, but maybe in this moment in my life, this person needs me to make it lighter or brighter.
Oh,
I'm like
that's
emotional.
so beautiful. Oh my God.
But that's helped in my life of like, maybe you feel like you're there for a purpose and not just sad because you're with a grouchy coworker, or I'm just using coworker as an example,
right. But a grouchy person, like
or anything, any situation. Yeah. So that helps. Those little mental rewirings of like, okay, maybe in this moment it's not about me. It's me guiding them or helping them or making the air lighter.
Yeah, I love that, because so I'm working on doing the sending love. So if anybody's grouchy towards me, I send them love. Or if I get like, if I'm getting like frustrated with the way someone's, behaving, I send them love.
I feel like we have a similar philosophy of life of like, we do try to lead our lives with love.
Yeah.
Not everybody's wired that way. Not everybody, that's harder for people to do. But I feel like, especially as you get older, I feel like you just realize, I don't know, nobody's perfect. We're all so flawed, and we're all just doing our best. And today might not be our best. Today might be the worst you're going to see. Today might be the day you get the worst version of me. But that's, we all try to, I don't know. I feel like we're all just people. That's what, both of us work with children as well. And that some days it's hard. Some days it is a challenge, but I love kids. At the end of the day, you're like, you don't know what their home life is like. You don't know if this is the one like real conversation they had with somebody today, or like got a hug or got a, looked them in the eyeball, and it's like some days it's hard. Some days you're like, this kid has been on me all day. But oh yeah, I'll jump through the
yeah. You preach it. You preach. Hallelujah.
But at the end of the day, they're like still an 8-year-old and they still like want to be your friend, or well, not your friend, but want to feel be loved and not be just like the kid that always acts up and whatever.
Yeah. And that's adults too.
Yes.
That's true. I've started to see that. You're right. Yeah, because we both do substitute teaching. Full transparency. We're both in film and streaming and substitute teaching.
Yeah. A great job, talk about the balance of arts and creativity and motherhood. It's the dreamiest hours. We could have the same hours as our kids. That to me in this section of my life is that's so important, to have the time and the hours. I'm not working, 20 hours a day and never seeing my kids because it's so quick, especially now they're older. Jessica and our kids are the same ages. So we've gotten to experience many motherhood chapters in the same time frame, which is wonderful. And it's so nice to have a friend that you can bounce that off of. And
you introduced me to substitute teaching because you're a voiceover actress. Mm-hmm. You're an everything actress, but you're also a voiceover actress. Mm-hmm. And in between roller coaster, I'm just gonna do this with my hands all over the place. Bogh.
This is the dance break portion of the show.
Dance break. Oh, you taught me the dance breaks.
I love a good dance break. I think that too of like, I think one cool thing about subbing is like you are not a teacher. I mean, you are there for the day to be the teacher, and they give you an agenda of the day and the order, time of everything in the agenda so you can follow their day. But it took me a little while because there's no real teacher training for subs, right? And so it took me a while to kind of figure out, what do you do when you have that extra window of time or extra pockets of time? And I think that's one cool thing is where you can be creative and fun. And for me, one of the things I love to do is we do talent show. Have I told you about this? Okay, no, so we do talent show. So I'm like, okay, we have time for talent show. You can do a joke, you can do a dance, you can sing a song. Yes, everyone's on the carpet, and then they just raise their hand. And then so anybody who wants to volunteer can, and who doesn't, that's fine. Like it's totally voluntary. And so it's great. And it's usually jokes. You usually, you'll have one girl getting up there and singing a little tune. And but then you have jokes. And it's so great because it's a break from class, because you have a window. You might have 10 minutes before lunch and they've already read 6 chapters of their book and they're already, we've already spent the time. So you have a little window of time. And so we'll do talent show. And I love it because some kids who maybe they act out a lot in class, or maybe they're super quiet and shy, and they get up there and they are just loving it. And they get up and it's a chance for them to just have fun. And then throughout the day, you'll hear more like, can we do another talent show? I'm like, well, if we have time, and I feel like that's been one cool thing about subbing is finding ways to be creative and have kind of a fun, so that the day isn't just a snooze, especially for the little kids. I have to preface that I mostly work with the younger grades, because
I think it applies to everything.
Yeah.
I was inspired by you because of the dance breaks, and I didn't know about the talent show, but that's fantastic.
Throw it in.
And also how you like, it was because of your try good and try again list.
Yes.
It's like a game changer.
Yeah.
You want to explain good and try again?
I'm a very visual person, and I feel like if they see it, then it's real, and they can actually, if you just say, you didn't do this X on my little note, then, but if they see their name, right? So one thing I started doing was I have a superstars, and I tell them, I was like, and this is the list. If you are doing your work and you are outstanding and you're listening, you get to be a superstar and your name's going on that list. And I hope everyone in this class is superstars. That's my hope. I hope. And I tell them that because, you want them to succeed. And even though if you might know some of the kids and who might have a harder time being on that star list, but you give them a chance, right? That's the whole point. You give them the hope, the chance. So we'll set that up. And I said, but then we're going to have a second list. And this is a try again. You did not make a good choice. You're going to try again. And so we want to all be superstars. But if your name's on try again, that's not good. So we're going to try again. And, and then some kids don't get on either list. And they're like, why am I not a superstar? It's like, well, yes, you are a great student, but you've been real chatty. Or you've been walking around talking to so-and-so in the other corner, and so you so for me, that list, it was just, when you sometimes you get your most creative ideas when you're desperate.
Yes.
Sometimes you'll be in the class and you're like, nothing is working, positive reinforcement, fussing, whatever. And so that was just one day I was like, okay, that's it. Today, you're just trying to get through that day. Cause as the sub, when you're subbing, you're hopping from experience to experience every day. And, we've been doing it long enough where we're at certain schools more often than others, but sometimes you're at a random school where you don't know any of the kids. And so you're just trying to get through that day because that's all you got.
And you just want them to be happy.
Right. You want it to be a positive experience for everybody.
Yes, you really do. That's the most fascinating part is it we really do.
Right. And they think that's why it's harder for me to do the older grades, because I feel like it hits a point where they always think we're out to get them and we're trying to bust them. And I'm like, I'm not trying to bust you. I'm just trying to have a nice day. We're all kids at heart.
Creative Mamas Unplugged is produced by Breatheasy Productions with music by Jeremy Jurin. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to give my mama 5 stars and keep coming back. Thanks to us kids, there are plenty of stories to tell. And you are not alone.
We are inspired by you. Thank you for joining our Creative Mamas community. Support Creative Mamas Unplugged on Patreon to get your name in the credits, receive extra content, and earn some fun prizes. With this, we can keep creating, uplifting, and growing this incredible community together. We love you so much. Applause.